Today we're going to show you our homestead updates, any upgrades, changes we've made. We do have some pigs, the chickens, the ducks, pheasants, garden, and we still are in the middle of cleaning up since we've only been here for a couple months. But this is what I do every morning now that we have the pigs. I have a friend that owns a restaurant, and I provide him 5-gallon buckets, and he fills them up with the vegetables that he preps in the morning for all the meals that he puts out throughout the day. So it's at no cost to me except for the field to get here. So I try to pick it up early in the morning before he opens or after he closes, depending on my work schedule and all that. So I will start off the day with this. As you can see, I leave as many buckets as I can. I wash them out after I'm done, and then inside buckets he gives me is lettuce, celery, parts of the cabbage he doesn't use. There's sometimes he puts some bell peppers in there, and a lot of it's zucchini. I guess the fleshy part where the seeds would be, he'll put those in there. I noticed the pigs don't really like the broccoli stalks, but the chickens will hollow them out, so almost everything gets consumed. So if they don't, I'll just throw it in the compost pile. Something will eat it, rabbits or whatever. This lid on this bucket that I have here doesn't fit that well, so it's hard to do one-handed, but it's a good sized bucket. Usually on the weekends I get a full bucket like that, or he'll use it like 1.5 buckets. So in the end I'll end up probably when I get my pigs processed, I'll probably give him some meat since he helped to feed them. But all right, I'm gonna stop filming till I get back to the house, because I don't have a good tripod or a station for this phone in the truck, and it's a if you haven't heard, it's a diesel, and it's so it's kind of loud, and it's a stick, so my anti-theft device. So it's kind of hard to hold the phone and shift. So I'll be back in a short, maybe 10 minutes. They know when I'm coming home with this. They eat it up. So it's looking like 5 ducks. And what's the chances? But only one of them is a female. That's, I mean, from what I can tell, I heard the males don't quack, and I only got one quacker in there. So we don't know what we're gonna do about that yet. And then it looks like I have, out of 20, I had to put one chicken down. Had sour crop and I just couldn't get it better, so I have 19 chickens in there, only 2 roosters. So that's a little better. And then out of the pheasants, I have 5 pheasants. 3 are roosters. So 2 of those are gonna have to go. Not too much longer. We're building a new pheasant pen. And when we transplant them, we'll probably, that's when I'll probably do it. And then we got 1 male and 1 female pig who are here waiting for their veggies, and they need all their wheat. Get out of your food. So Chapo is this guy. He's the runt, we believe. And she's a little bully. She pushes him out of the way. So what we did yesterday was, turn the camera around, it won't hear me. What we did yesterday was we had 2 tubs here. One's laying over there. And the first week it wasn't too bad. They would drink their water and it would stay pretty clean. I change it once a day. And then after the first week, I'd put water in it, and they would just, as soon as I'd put the water, filled it up, they would be walking in it, and it would get all muddy, and they'd poop on the edge of it and stuff. So I figured I'd do the whole pig nipple thing. So I found the pig nipple at Tractor Supply, like $7 for the larger one. And then finding a 55-gallon plastic barrel for water took me a while. And right after I found it, my buddy found it for me. I found a bunch of them all of a sudden came up on the Facebook marketplace for cheaper, of course, after I bought them. So I got 2 barrels, and I just kept one for us so we can fill it up with water and store it just in case our well goes out one day, like it did already. But I'll show you the pig water, which is very simple to do if you have the right tools. And I might have to tighten it down just a little bit more because I keep turning it. It's enough, and if I put it up high enough where it's gonna hold enough water to keep weight in the barrel so they can't tip it over. And then if it comes down to that, I'll strap it. But yeah, this thing is, I just put some Teflon tape on it, and I could probably crank it one more. I just don't want to strip anything. It doesn't come out too fast. I thought it would come out faster, but I'm thinking when they do use it, when the pig uses it, it comes out faster. I'm thinking they put more pressure on it than I'm doing it. But Seems like they're using it. You can tell, and they're using it to scratch on their backs. This thing right here is, I don't have I can't remember what they call them. The wrench for this starts with a B. So this little handy tool, pretty simple. So I just have it just slightly tightened where it won't come off. And that's that. And I'll check that water every week, but I don't know if you can hear me. I'll check that water every week, but if it starts getting algae or something in there, I'll clean it out, bleach, and I'll roll it around with some bleach water, and then do a good rinse down of it. And this is the pig shelter I made for them. The first few days they didn't have a shelter. It was pretty warm out still too. Well, it's still warm out. Right now I think it's 70 degrees, and I don't even know what time it is, 9 in the morning. So there's their pig shelter. I just put some pine shavings in there. Each got their own little spot they rooted. They use it, and that's the only part they really keep clean. They do most of their business on the corners. And so there's certain things in here that I kept in. We had some bushes in here. They had thorns on them, like this. I just cut them off. Just left them up because they use all this stuff to scratch posts. Doesn't bother them. This is just asparagus they've been chewing on. Here's another one of those trees I just left in. And these palm trees are pretty good for them to scratch on. They'll eat the branches if they're too low. I don't really care. I was gonna rip these out anyways. This was a garden here, and we made it into the new pig pen. It just provides enough shade too. This is what I built first. Pretty quick. I used 2x6s, and the only thing was I don't know. A lot of people don't put backs on these, so I was gonna put just a tarp over it, and this is big enough for a bunch of pigs. I mean, I didn't need one this big, and to use this one, I was gonna have to expand the enclosure, and each one of these panels is 16 feet, so 4 sides at 16 feet. I didn't want anything bigger than that for the pigs. Then you're gonna get them burning more calories because they're using more of the area, and they're not putting on the weight as fast. So if I were to put this in, that's what I would have to do. So I'm gonna keep this for something else. Maybe next year we'll raise more pigs for other people, and maybe then we'll expand a little bit. And if I have more pigs, I could use it for anything though. I could use it for chickens as well. So, but what I have is this has an overhang. It's not. I think it's 19 inches. I don't know why. Can't remember the measurements, but this right here is where the wheels will go, and then you basically lift the other end up, and it makes it very easy to roll. There's enough clearance so this isn't rubbing on any changes in terrain. And then these are 2 cattle panels, just overlap in the middle, and they're sandwiched together with plywood. I got a 5/8 inch thick plywood on one side, which is what I should have used on the other side, because the other side I tightened down and it kind of cracked. But it'll be good enough to block from the wind. So we're gonna raise pigs in the winter time. we're not gonna, it's already hard enough to deal with the weather here in the summer for me. So I don't see what's the point in putting, I like to be outside in the winter. I like it cold in the mornings. And I don't want to put animals through 115, 120 degree heat if I don't have to. So I might as well we can raise our food in the best environment, which would be seasonal. We have 2 seasons here basically. So raise all our food during the winter when it's better for us to be outside, when the weather's more tolerable, it's enjoyable, and animals are happier, so drop some mail. So that's our pig enclosure. Those pigs, I don't know, they've only been here for 3 weeks, I think, and put on some weight already. I'm feeding them wheat and those veggies, and that's it. So whatever other scraps we can get a hold of. So I'm looking to maybe supplement their diet with other things. Whatever we can do, we do. We feed them. We're trying not to waste anything. So I don't know how many of you have experience with the mail order chicks. So we ordered a lot of meat birds, and they're only a couple weeks old, and we lost a few, which is, I think it's normal from my past experience. All the chickens that we hatched, including the ducks, which ducks are more hardy, have not had any issues except for that one that I had to put down a couple weeks ago, and it had a sour crop, which is like a yeast infection, and we did everything we could. I mean, we separated it, fed it nothing, and then started losing weight, and I would do the Greek yogurt and vinegar and baking soda solution. Did everything, and finally it just wasn't doing too well, so I dispatched it. But with all these animals that we're losing, I'm not gonna throw them all away or nothing. I'm not gonna attract the unwanted predators like hawks and vultures. That was my biggest worry here, was hawks and owls, and I honestly haven't had any issues with them. So the animals that do not make it, pigs eat them, and it's pretty fast. So if I see a sick animal, I put it out of its misery in the best way I think to do it. It sucks, but it's part of it. That's part of this whole thing. So you want to let an animal sit there and suffer when it's not doing well. Some of these chicks, it's just part of it. It's a numbers game. It's the only one in there. Has to be a woman yapping. Just joking. So that's the deal with those. We lost one pheasant. Don't know why. I woke up one day, I came home from work one day, and it was just sitting there, and it hadn't been too long because it wasn't stiff or anything yet, and I had one escape when it was still pretty small. The rest of them are doing pretty well, but for sure 3 males, 2 females, and we'll see if we can get them running out here in a minute. They are not like chickens. They'll scratch and they do the dust bath, and they are not like chickens though. They're not as friendly. The ducks do not like pheasants. I realized that because when they were younger, they were trying to attack the pheasants. There's just something about them. They don't eat as much either. But what they do eat is high protein. So that's a female right there. I don't know if you can see her. They're all hiding right now, but if I set this camera down and walk away, they'll come out. Well, come here so you can see it. So this stuff we're gonna use today, and you can see like this one I didn't separate the husk so it absorbed more. So I'll show you how to do it the right way, but it'll still be good. You wanna leave water over the top. Some of it actually germinated, but this is fermented, so it's not something we're gonna grow sprouts off from. This one will be used tomorrow. I'll add water. I'll add water to this too. And then I'll show you how to do it to get the husk out. Fill about half of the bucket. This is for the amount of animals we have. Will this work? Sorry. All right. Can you see inside it? See how the husks, they come to the top, they float. So you put your hand in there and you turn it. And as you turn it, you disturb it and all the husks will come to the surface. There. You get most of them by hand. Then you go down there and turn it again. And this way, you won't absorb as much water, and you want the water to cover it. If you don't, the stuff that surfaces can mold. Which is probably not a huge deal for, animals usually eat what they're allowed to eat. They know what to eat, but all right. Really don't want to show my dirty shop because this is like the last thing on our list. House is first. So to get organized, which I've tried, man. Like I don't have any lights in here either. I need to get some new lights installed, and these ceilings are at least 20 feet. So I can get a ladder almost up to it. It's just kind of weird. My extension ladder has a increments, I guess. And it's just a couple inches off where if I go too high, it's gonna hit the ceiling. If I go too low, it's gonna miss the beam. And it's pretty far to fall, and I'm not gonna fall, so we'll get that figured out. But that's about all I got. Somewhat organized. The whole car, and as soon as I get the shop organized, I'm gonna get this thing running so I can enjoy it for the winter here. But we have just stuff everywhere. Just a mess. And to be honest, it was worse. that I want to show you is this is my mobile. This is going to be our chicken tractor with boxes for the hens. I'm going to put the boxes on the outside and close them off at night. So they're going to have to come outside, jump up in their boxes. So the sides will be boxes. And I think the rear will be roosts. And then the middle I'm going to have open with just this mesh. So their poop can fall through. And the only thing I'll have to be cleaning will be nesting boxes, and that's it. And then I'll have stuff underneath it. Thinking about putting like this barrel, maybe this barrel, cutting it up where I can make some kind of box for the ducks to hopefully lay in, the eggs in. But we'll figure it out. But what I wanted to show you was this tote of seed. If you guys are able to do this for your animals or whatever, seed for anything, this is the way to go. You're gonna spend $10 to $15 for a 50-pound bag of pellets or whatever for your chickens or your pigs. And what you should be doing is going to your, not everybody has the means to do it, but if you can borrow a trailer and a truck or somebody can help you out, a one-time deal, because this will last you forever. This will last me, this should feed my pigs until we process them. Everything else on top of this is just extra. The vegetables and anything else we give to them. This is 2,000 pounds, well it was 2,000 pounds of wheat. And the cost of this was $104, some change. The hardest part was me getting it off the trailer. And I have this, thank God, but I use this with some jack stands. I had to jack this whole thing up and then put on jack stands to get this up high enough so that my trailer could roll out. But that's the way to go, $104 to feed your pigs out. So what we're gonna do with that wheat, it's a red wheat, is we've already done a couple trays of fodder just to practice. We used some tins, some baking tins, put some holes in the one side. And what we've found that's probably gonna be the best is we're gonna get some shelving that I found I'm gonna pick it up tomorrow, hopefully. And I'm gonna do 2 to 3 days worth of fodder. So it's basically gonna be a 1 week system. So every week I'll make a new tray. And what happens is that wheat grows as it sits. That wheat is like 8%, 9% crude protein. When it germinates, which is different from fermenting, you're helping the animal to digest the food. It's almost like they're gonna gain more nutrients out of the fermented food, and it's probiotics for them. But if you grow it out a week, it'll take off after the first couple days. And you'll get a couple inch stalks or blades of wheat. And like day 6, day 7, you'll pull it out and it'll be a root mat, no dirt. You'll just be all roots entangled. And that 9%, 8% protein that you had from just a seed, dry seed, that is hard for an animal to digest. the nutrients from it because they're just passing it. It'll be in their feces. That's why there's times where you'll run upon a cow patty or not so much cows, but other animals, and stuff will grow out of their feces. Seeds are transplanted from birds flying overhead. It's because they don't process those seeds in their system that well in its raw form. So what we're gonna do is take a tray a day, which we're trying to figure out what we're gonna use for trays. We're gonna drill holes in the bottom, the middles. We're not gonna do the lean, stack it on one side, have it drain down to the next. We're gonna put holes throughout the whole tray and have it drain straight down to the next tray. In the very bottom one, we're gonna use a drip pan. It'll catch all the water. And I'm gonna do 2 rows of it. So 2 or 3 rows. So we'll have 2 to 3 trays a day of a fodder mat that we can throw to the birds and to the pigs. So people wanna, everybody's talking about pasture raising their animals. Not everybody can do it. Not everybody has land to move their animals around on fresh, green crops, grass, whatever you have. So to get the same benefit, if you have to have your animals in one enclosure where they totally eradicate all the crops, roots from that one area, you can come in with a fresh mat of green, and now its protein value goes from 9% to, from what I see, 20% or more crude protein. So you throw that down and the animals they love it. It's the best thing. They love it. And then you feed whatever else scraps. But the weight of that mat also is more than the seed itself. You're going way further with your food with this seed. It's gonna absorb all that water, create root system, and grow a blade of grass, wheat, whatever you wanna call it. From there, you're gonna double, triple, probably closer to triple the weight of that handful of seed you just had. Your money's gonna go a whole lot farther than you just feeding dry pellets, seeds, things like that. So we're trying to graduate from dry food, which we did, to fermenting, which we are now. Now we're trying to go just straight to the fodder system. If you got the time to do it, do it. If you don't, you can always ferment still. It's better than what you're gonna get just from feeding the commercial bags of pellets. And then you can use anything else like grains, scratch grains as, I like diversity in food, maybe as a treat. So that's my 2 cents. I'm not a pro at all of it, but I'm learning. Everything I learn is from watching other YouTubers, so it seems to work for them. It makes sense. If it makes sense, why not do it? If you can, we can. So we're gonna do it. We'll show you guys how it's done. Hopefully it works out the way we intend it. So anyways, my messy shop. We are gonna go try to find some trays. We're gonna go out to shop around, try to find some trays. I'd like to get some busser tubs that people that bus tables use. Something like that. Otherwise, we'll just use the seed trays. And I'd rather not, but because you're gonna use them every day, they're gonna break. So I'd rather use a bussing tub, but I can't find a good deal on them.